Yo, this is Habi.
Hi, I'm Tiff. I'm his mom.
And I'm her son.
You bring the mic.
And I'll bring the words.
You're eavesdropping on an ongoing conversation between a black son and his white mom. Good morning, Habi.
Good morning, Mom.
I am so happy to be here drinking coffee with you again. I can't even tell you how happy I am.
I'm happy to be back. It feels good to be back.
I missed you.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, and I am guessing that our listeners really missed you and were like, why the heck are we just listening to this lady? Where is Habi?
I don't think so. I think you did good by yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm always better with someone.
You always have wisdom. You always been wise, so...
Not on my own.
Yeah, I think so.
I
You just don't give yourself enough credit, but...
I don't know. Anyway, you went on a little road trip.
Yes, I did.
Doing a little side hustling.
That's what
Making
it is.
some papers. That's not what you say, right? Bringing in some papers. Collecting papers. I got it. Collecting papers. Okay, that look you're giving me. Nobody can see it, but...
I was just getting my bags, but, you know.
Oh, that's what I'm supposed to say now?
No.
It's not collecting papers
No.
anymore. Okay. So you're getting your bags.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
A little road trip. Yeah.
It was a nice trip.
Yeah.
Good scenes.
Oh, good.
Good to be back, though.
New England, right?
Yeah, up there. So.
Well, I'm glad to not have to drink coffee alone today, and I'm glad that you're here with us, and I'm sure our listeners are glad, and hopefully we have something of value to bring with this episode number 6.
Yes, ma'am. I think we do.
Yeah, we're doing well.
Be good.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, here we go, Hob. So on the episode that I ended up doing solo, Habi, I talked a little bit about some pushback that we got from adoptees about how all kids in a family should be raised equally, and I took the liberty of speaking for you, and I just want to make sure that I spoke for you accurately. I think what you were saying is that all children in a family, whether they are adopted, whether they are birth children of the parents, should be treated equally as sons and daughters. Is that correct?
Yes, because you're not going to parent everybody the same way. Because everybody has different life. Everybody has this different life story. You know what I mean? So everybody has different pain. So you're not gonna
right. Adopted children come into a family with trauma. And to not recognize that is damaging to a child.
It's just general family. If you have a kid, you're not gonna raise the kid the same.
Right.
All I was saying is about was equality. Not really nothing. It has nothing to do with raising child the same way.
Right. Just,
you know what I mean?
Everyone should be treated equally. Right. Okay. Right. I just wanted to make sure that I was correct and not speaking incorrectly for you. So, all right. Thanks, Hub.
Of course.
So our idea today was to talk through some tangible things that parents and community in general can maybe benefit from who have already internationally adopted, what they can do. So after our eyes were open to the harm and the white savior complex within adoption, like you and Jamesy were already here with us.
Right.
And you were irrevocably part of our family, and we didn't want to change that, but understanding what we did about adoption and how maybe we weren't like your meant to be best case scenario, we had to move forward and try to make the best of what is for the sake of you and Jamesy.
Right.
So we decided today that I would kind of interview you.
Okay.
I'll ask you some questions since you're the one that has like lived experience in this inside of an adoptive family's home. In previous episodes, we touched on some of the things that were hard. So this is going to be like a little different than that. We're not going to be talking about like the hard things, but the things that actually worked, the
Right.
things that were good. I think it's important for our listeners to remember that you are not speaking for all internationally adopted people.
No, I'm
Okay?
just speaking out of experience and what I think. Not like
Right.
everybody has their own opinions, and this is my opinion, and this
Yeah.
is my thinking, and this is how I felt could happen, should have happened. But no, it doesn't mean that everybody who's been adopted is going to agree with what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
No,
think it's harmful when we expect like a group of people to be a monolith, to all
right,
believe and think and act the same way.
right,
But there may be some internationally adopted kids that do relate to you, you
right.
know? So I think that your experience is valuable for us to share. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
make sure people understand that you're
No,
not
I'm not.
trying
I'm
to
not
speak for
speaking. I'm not
everyone.
speaking for anyone but Habi, darling.
Yeah. All right, Javi, are you ready?
I'm good, straight.
Okay. How important is an adoptive child's origin culture? Like for you, Ethiopia.
A lot. I think like that's essentially who you are as a person. You get that sense of connection. You know what I mean? Knowing your culture, your origin, where you come from, where you came from. Sorry, and it's really, 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 really important. Like to the point, it's important enough that you can build connection with your adoptee daughter or son. Like you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
because you are putting the time enough to get your son or daughter to connect with their culture, you may get involved in it. That can be a bonding experience or a connection. You know what I mean? So it's really important.
Yeah, I know, like, as your mom, I've done some really crazy things to try to connect you to
Right.
Ethiopian culture. Like, I'm not extroverted or outgoing at all, but I will absolutely put myself out there to find you Abisha community. And like you've shown us that that's important, and I'll even do it now. Like you're a grown man and I know I have to be careful like crossing boundaries, but um I'll still like do whatever I can to help you find that community,
Right.
you know.
I think it's important because at the same time, like it's important not to forget your language as well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
that I was going to ask you about
that's
that.
really important that you don't. I don't forget my language. I mean, surprisingly, um, because like I mean, I do trying to stay on top of the things where what's going on at home, whatever. But at the same time, it's like the parent need to be involved in like if the kid is under 18 doesn't know what's going on a lot, like can be
Mhm.
involved in researching and hey, this is what's happening.
Mhm.
Give up one of your weekend, say like, hey, let's go, or you can just we can drop you off. I don't know how it works, but like you know what I mean,
Mhm.
like that. Just
Anything
trying
to
to
connect with the
exactly.
culture.
So
Mhm.
like that person can have this sense of connection and doesn't feel bad being lonely or by itself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it is important.
So, can parents just expect kids to come to America and assimilate into American culture, forgetting their origin culture? Is that like a fair thing for parents to expect of their adopted kids?
No, no, I think like the adoptive kid's gonna want to grow up, know about their culture, be involved with their culture, even sometimes gather around with their where people are from the same country as them and experience their culture and grow and learn.
Yeah. Do you think it matters like how old the kid is? Like, let's say a toddler was adopted internationally versus a teenager. Is it equally important that both kids get taught their origin culture, or can the toddler just, you know, is he just fully American? He doesn't need to know
Nah,
about
they
his
need
background.
they need like what I believe. Again, this is my opinion. So, but like I think they need to be educated equally. It doesn't matter if it's a toddler or a 13-year-old. Like, if a toddler doesn't get educated and grows up, and you try and educate them later on, it's like, why didn't you just do it earlier?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, just like you will educate your own biological daughter or son about certain things from toddler years, like, you will tell your toddler how about their family history as they grow up. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
age 4, whatever, whatever, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's gonna be some kind of education on that. So, like, I mean, he's not gonna understand, or she's not gonna understand right at the moment.
Right.
But, like, I think it builds a really good foundation to go up on.
Yeah. Okay. Um, how important is it for adoptive parents to get involved in their children's culture?
A lot. I think it shows interest. Like, just vice versa. Do you know what I mean? Like, just like you want your adopted kid to be involved in your culture, in
Mm-hmm.
your, it's vice versa. A lot.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Javi. Yeah. Um, one thing that I've struggled with is that fine line of cultural appropriation.
Mm.
I have to keep, like, I just have to remember, even though we lived in Ethiopia for a couple years as a family, I have to keep in the forefront of my mind that Ethiopian culture is not my culture.
Right.
Like, it is your culture, it is Jamesy's culture, but it's not mine. So it's a little tricky for me personally when trying my best to hand down that culture, especially to Jamesy,
Right.
to not be appropriating. Like, I've gotten okay at making authentic injera and Ethiopian food, and I've been asked to make YouTube videos to show how to do it for other adopted parents. Like, they've asked me. And that's something that I really struggle with because I believe that kind of stuff needs to be handed down from Abishas, like from an Abisha woman. That's how I learned. And I think that's the best way to learn. And that's,
Right.
I don't know. I just think that there's a fine
Yeah.
line for parents between cultural appropriation and then appreciating the culture of their children. And it gets a little tricky.
I think you need to know that, like, it's okay. If, you know what I mean? Like, if you can do certain things, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how you can build that connection as well, too. Like, accepting the fact that you're not this, you're not good at this, or you're not the right person to teach this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? There's a person for it, and let that person educate, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think that, well, this is probably in parenting in general, just coming to the understanding that I'm not the end all be all for my children,
Right.
and that it's okay to have other people come in and help. And I think that that's, something with the cultural piece that's important for adoptive parents.
For sure.
So I think we've established that a child's culture, origin culture, is really important. Can you give us some tangible ideas that parents can do inside their family life to incorporate these cultural experiences?
Um, Celebrate holidays together. Um, Take a trip if you can back to where they come from.
What if you can't take a trip? What are some like more everyday ideas that parents can do?
Try to do simple things, like if you can't take a trip. Like, it depends on where you live. There's a lot of Habesha communities, most of big cities. Um, you know, Trying to take them to restaurants, and let the kids listen to hear some language and music, and if not, trying to play some, just be open minded about it. I think that's the big thing. Just be open minded, and ready to put yourself out there, and so for the sake of your child.
Okay, thank you. How important do you think it is? I think you touched on this already, but for kids to retain or relearn their original language?
It's really important. I believe, like, again, this is my opinion. Like, I think, like, I don't know what I would do if I forget my language.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that was what I used to communicate for my first 12 years. Like it's part of who I am. So it's really important. Like, it doesn't mean everybody gonna retain their language, but which is, again, it's not a bad thing, or it's not a, you did a terrible job kind of thing. No, like, it just the circumstances.
But should parents put their kids in language classes? Is that something that would be
If
helpful
their
or
kid is interested, absolutely.
okay.
I think, like, there's gonna be a certain point where, like, it's not just gonna be the parent. Like, if the child said, like, I'm not interested, you cannot force them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even though the parent is trying really really hard, to show you a culture, but, like, if the child said, I'm not interested, what can you do?
Yeah.
So
Right. I know when you were younger, I mean, you still now, you listened to a lot of Ethiopian music, you
yeah,
watched a lot of Ethiopian movies,
yeah,
and honestly, I think that that helps
for
keep
sure.
a child's language
For sure.
up,
I
you
think,
know?
like, it just keeps refreshing my memories as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I knew how to write and read when I came here, but I stopped doing that. So now I forgot it. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So, like, that
Is that
shows you.
something that you're sad about? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, do you wish that you could
because I
still?
didn't know I can actually lose it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
yeah.
really didn't. I really thought I had it forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I stopped writing, like, I don't know if you remember, but, like, I used to write in Amharic or
Yeah.
read. Now I can't. But, like, so after that I realized, like, okay, I need to start, doing certain things so I don't even forget my.
How to speak it.
Right. Like, people think it's like, how do you forget whatever? Like, if you speak certain language every day,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? You're gonna forget. So
You have to
yeah,
keep exercising that.
exactly. The brain is trained to
Mm-hmm.
remember it. So, like I was telling you, I think movies, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
I try to watch a lot of movies.
You even have like Abisha friends that you'll
I
speak
call,
only
yep,
Amharic
yep,
with, you
yeah. So,
know.
like, yeah, I have a couple of friends down in Jersey that I just call and speak Amharic to, because that just, again, keeping it refreshing in my mind, because, like, that's the only time I speak Amharic to. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So, like,
Right, we don't speak it here in our home.
it's in which to say, like, you guys are terrible people. You know what I
Oh, we
mean?
are.
You know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
just,
I mean, Dad tries.
yeah, he tries. Yeah,
I don't even
he,
attempt.
he tries. He tries. He got the confidence to
He
just
has,
go for
you're
it.
right, he does have the confidence.
But yeah, those kind of things help. Like, listen to music and just, like, keeping your memory refreshing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So one area that I think that I have grown in, and I'm being like really vulnerable and transparent here, but maybe other adoptive parents have struggled with this, is sometimes in the past I've felt left out because there are parts of your culture that I cannot understand. There are parts of Jamesy's culture that I cannot understand, that I'm not a part of. Like, I don't speak Amharic, or don't speak it well. And I have felt left out a little bit. And I've had to grow in this area and learn to be okay with that. Learn that it's not taking anything away from me being your mom or Jamesy's mom. And maybe
Right.
it's just me. Maybe I'm just like more sensitive in this area, but I just wanted to throw that out there in
Right.
case there's other parents that also feel that. And we just, like, personally, I've just had to get over myself, get over my feelings, and like let you and Jamesy have
Right.
that,
Right.
you know?
Right. I think that just you recognizing it too, like, and recognizing certain things can help the relationship. I believe, like, you thinking, okay, this is the part I cannot step in because I don't understand it. So I'm gonna let him do it. But knowing that and believing that, because you did that doesn't mean our relationship is down the drain.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know that we have stronger relationship enough, but at the same time, you know that this is not your cup of tea.
Right. It's not my place. And I
Right.
need to step back. And all I'm saying is with my personality, that has been something that has been hard for me. Because I do struggle with it's a pride thing, like you said last time, but I do struggle with wanting to be everything for my
Mm.
kids. And even with my birth children, like, I can't be everything, and I have to learn that that's okay,
Right.
you know?
Like you said the other day, like you thought when you got married, I really think this was really dope. But when you got married, you say you thought your husband was gonna be your everything.
Yeah.
Do you
And
know what I
I've
mean?
like really learned the past couple years like how messed up that is.
Right,
Like,
because
to
the
expect
pressure
another
and the,
human.
right,
Yeah.
to be the everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's important. Like, I think that was a good point, Ma. Like, not to be expected to be everything.
And to be okay
With that,
with your children learning outside of
you
me.
essentially,
Yeah.
like, that's life is. You know
I
what I mean?
know.
We learn from certain people different, but like you
Mm-hmm.
get your certain thinking from certain person, you get your belief from certain person. Certain, you know what I mean? Like,
It
not
really does take a village, and some parents are not going to agree with me here, and that's okay. But I believe that it does take a village to
to
raise a
raise
whole
child
child
for sure,
in their humanity.
for
And
sure.
um it would be really selfish and prideful of me to think that I could be the one to solely hand you your culture, and
Right,
that I should be involved in every aspect of
right,
that. And I'm just saying, like, it's something that I've had to grow
right.
in as a human. So, Hobby, what about faith traditions? And I know this is going to be a prickly question for some people, but what about what if the adoptive child grew up in a family with different faith traditions than the adoptive family? How important is it for adoptive parents to consider those faith traditions for their child?
This is, I didn't expect you to ask this question, but it's
I
a big
know.
question. Um, I think it's important. Obviously, again, the situation will be different as the child is a toddler. But if you,
And I guess you don't always know a child's faith
faith, right,
tradition. But if you do, I think that's what I'm asking. Like, if you do know, like, your adopted child's family has this faith tradition, how important is it for you to acknowledge
incorporate
that,
that.
incorporate it, you know?
I think it's important. Like, it's tough
I
because,
know. We're
like,
going to make some people mad here, probably.
I
But
think it's important because, like, you should not try to persuade a person to your religion whatsoever
mm-hmm.
to start with. So if that child is Orthodox,
Right.
I know a lot of adoptive parents are Christians, but if that child is Orthodox, let him be Orthodox.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, like, show him, like, it doesn't mean like
You don't include him in your
right,
family's
right,
faith tradition.
exactly,
Right.
but don't change him to a fact. Like, let him make his choice. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Let her make her choice.
Mm-hmm.
So let them decide what they want to do, what they believe in, but still give them enough room to experience both sides,
Okay.
so they can decide. But not, I mean, not both sides. Whatever you are,
No, I
whatever,
think, yeah.
whatever you believe in, not just Orthodox
Mm-hmm.
or Christians, whatever, but or whether it's Muslim, whatever it is. I think
Yeah.
it's important that not to change the person's belief,
Yeah.
because again, we talked about, like, belief is what makes a person, like, or a choice or
And
whatever.
here in the West, with American Christianity, we touched on it in episode 4. We have just such a narrow view, you
Right,
know? So
right.
so you grew up Orthodox. If you want me to
Orthodox.
take this out, I can.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
And the pieces of your faith tradition that you've held on to are like the Orthodox holidays. You still celebrate a
celebrate that.
lot of the
It's
Orthodox
for sure.
holidays.
And then, like, I think this one could be another one we talk about. Like, this is my faith journey has nothing been incredible. Like, Orthodox is most beautiful faith in, like, for what certain things are so beautiful what they do, like the community, the coming together is so beautiful. And as you like, again, I wasn't Orthodox, I transitioned to Christian, and just like now I'm the point where I believe what I believe in. I have my own believing, but like I did keep some of that Orthodox part in me still to this day because that's who I am.
Right.
Like I was in a choir when I was.
You're in choir? Is that what you said?
I was in a choir. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Say the word again.
Choir.
Choir.
Right.
Like singing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought you didn't understand.
Yeah, yeah. You were in a choir.
Right. So
okay. I haven't heard this story, and since you're freely talking about it, I need to hear this. You were in a choir.
I
when you were
in
a
the
kid.
Church. Yeah.
Oh. Did you wear robes?
No, I don't know robes.
Was it like, I'm sorry, I'm envisioning like black choir in like black church.
Yeah, I think it's different than this kind of like
Okay.
American black church. You know, like, it's not the same, but it's Orthodox Christian. But anyways, I think like to this day, like I will go to sit down to Orthodox church.
Yeah.
Why? Because it
It's
reminds
part of
me
your
of who I am.
heritage.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I believe the same thing.
Yeah.
But I will go sit down. It's like just it brings back this whole memories I had. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's part of who I am. So I can't really drop part of who I am just trying to come up with new. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's always dangerous when we try to erase
For
part of
sure.
who our children
That's
are.
a good one. Mom.
You know. So yeah, I think it's always dangerous when we are trying to erase our kids' history or anything. Erasing people is just wrong.
All right.
You know.
Right.
All right, Habi, is there anything else that you want to share with us? Any other ways that parents can help their kids stay connected to their birth country and culture? Or did we hit on everything that you wanted to talk about?
I think I'm sure there is a lot more, but like a lot of times when you're on the spot, you can't really think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's okay.
I think the only thing I will say is just be open-minded to your child wanting to do certain things where you're not involved in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's important too.
Be open-minded to that. Be open-minded to that. To the fact that like your child may want to do certain culture stuff where you're not gonna get even involved. You know what I mean? Like, or get invitation to it, and that's okay. Again, like, just I think the best way you can be there is just that by supporting whatever the child's decision is. Like, yeah, you're not gonna agree to that every time. You know what I mean? Like, but
right, especially when they're children.
Right, but like, I don't know. I think just learn by yourself. Don't ask your child, "What can I do?" Well, sometimes like it's different. You know what I mean? Like you can learn about your child's culture, but you can ask your child about his personality, feelings, or do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but
give him a safe space to speak about.
But like you can these days, it's so easy to learn about cultures.
Yeah,
you know, like just learn about cultures, and you know.
I think exposure, like
for sure,
figuring out ways to expose our kids to their culture is important.
Definitely.
So, Habi, just gonna take a little bit of a different thought process here. In your experience being Black, not only are you Ethiopian, but you're also Black. how important was it for you to be able to also assimilate into Black American culture? Is it important for a child adopted from an African country to also learn about Black American culture?
Yeah. Again, like, yeah, he's Ethiopian at the same time he is black. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, fine, okay, you kept that black culture aside, but raised him based on Ethiopian culture. When he faced the real world, like, do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, that,
I think it's important
for sure,
to
definitely.
set our Black children up to be accepted by the Black
Community,
community,
for sure. So, and then, like, yeah, and just take them to a black barber.
Yes.
Like, I know that,
I was
please,
going to ask you for some suggestions,
just
so there's a good one. Okay.
just take them to, like, once in a week, twice, once in a week, or once in 2 weeks. Just take them to a black barber. Even though, like, just the experience that's where, even in Ethiopia,
Right.
it's in the barber where everything happens. Like, you listen
Mm-hmm.
about, like, even the culture. Just take them there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and please don't try to do their hair, or like, I'm not. It's part of, like, this is where we talked about, like, certain things you can't do. Like,
Right.
I get it if you are a qualified hairdresser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely do their hair.
Mm-hmm.
But because are you doing it just because you think it's the same hair as your son, your
Right.
other daughter? Like, no.
Right.
Just take them to the hairdresser and to a barber, and
Yeah.
you know. So I think that's important.
All right, Happy. Are there like, some other ways, like how important is Black music and TV shows and books, like representation of
For
Black
sure.
people in your home? How important is
A
that?
lot, like you said, music. You know, some people may find some music not right or not. I get it. There are some music that.
I mean, there's certain Black music that we don't have Jamesy listen to yet.
Right. I mean, he's a
Because
he's 10-year-old or
right.
11-year-old, whatever.
He's 11.
He's 11.
He's going to be 12.
Yeah,
But
11-year-old. But like,
Jamesy also has some challenges and
for
picks up
sure,
lyrics very quickly
quickly.
that might not be appropriate to use in certain settings.
I think, like, you have to expose your child to certain places and ultimately let them make decisions.
Right. We've talked
Do you know
about
what I
that
mean?
before. Mm-hmm.
Because that's where it's important is. If you just keep them away, you make the decision.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's healthy
Mm-hmm.
for both of parties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, like, exposure is really important to music, movies, TV shows, and books.
One show that our family really enjoys is Blackish.
Mhm.
And, like, funny enough,
You learned a lot from that, too.
Dad and I have learned a lot from
Right.
watching that show. And it's really important for not just you and Jamesy to see Black characters on the TV screen. It's important for our white children to see
For sure.
that, too.
For sure. And I think, like, even though the show is funny, like, I saw you guys learn every episode we watch. You're like,
Mhm.
kind of thing. It's
Mhm.
it's like you picking up certain things, and it's pretty cool.
It's a really great,
for sure, and
great show for people to learn more about
Definitely.
Black culture and
and heritage. It's really dope. And
what about Black food and Black-owned businesses and
I feel like Black food. I mean, food is amazing itself, but like Black food is really special too. Like, just
Mhm.
again, the history. I think where it gets lost is because, like, just speaking for what I know, is just because that, okay, our child is Ethiopian, so he doesn't have to be involved with
Black culture,
exactly. Do you know what I'm
Black
saying?
American culture. Mm-hmm.
So, like, okay, we don't have to teach him about this food. We don't have to teach him about slavery. We don't have to tell him anything
Mm-hmm.
or get him involved to a Black culture because he's Ethiopian. He's not Black.
But when someone is looking at that child,
It doesn't matter.
They're seeing a Black child.
Right. It doesn't matter.
When
Like,
people look at you, they see
I'm
a Black man.
Right.
Like,
it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
I'm Black. It don't
Right.
matter. Like, so that has to step aside to, like, hey, you Ethiopian, you Black American.
Mm-hmm.
And there's your Ethiopian culture. Now,
Right.
we want to try our best. We're not gonna know everything.
Mhm.
We want to try our best to educate you or research and find you certain places where you can go, get educated, community, and learn about your Black culture.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're not Ethiopian. You're Black.
Yeah, you're both.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think as parents, we should really want our child to be able to fit into spaces.
For sure.
You know, like,
for sure.
It's really doing our children, it would be really doing you a disservice if we made it so you didn't fit into Ethiopian community anymore.
Right.
Or if you felt like you didn't fit into Black American,
You don't
like,
know who
where
you
would you
fit in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's so important.
Just imagine, like, you not knowing enough about you culture where you come from, okay? At the same time, not knowing enough about your Black culture.
Right.
Where would you? What would you do?
It would be such an identity crisis.
For sure. For sure.
For kids who already go through identity crises as an adoptee.
Definitely.
You know.
I think it's important. Really important.
So obviously, not all kids who are internationally adopted are kids of color, but many of them are. So, Habi, how vital is it for parents to teach their adopted kids of color about racism?
It's a vital. Like, it's not just an adopted kid, to your own biological kid, to teach them about racism.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to teach your adopted kid because he's Black. It's vital, like, to teach your own biological.
But I think it's fair to say that, you know, Dad and I have had to educate you on, let's just say, driving differently than we will have to educate Katie this fall on driving.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of what, like, how important is it for us to inform our Black children of what they are going to face in this world, how to be prepared to handle it. You know what I mean? Like, can we ignore it? Can we raise our kids colorblind? Like, what?
I think it's important, like, to just say, hey, you know, this country has some kind of history. You know, we don't know what the right thing to say to you is. We don't know how to educate you because we never went through it. But we want you to know that, like, in this country, you're going to be seen a threat in certain places for certain people. You know what I mean? And we don't know how. We can't always protect you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, we want you to know that this is part of this country's history a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, although we cannot educate you based on everything because, like, we never went through it, but we want you to know about it. So we
can't share lived experience with you. This is what we know. Here's resources. Here's community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. It's important.
When do you think these conversations should begin?
I think, like, it can be early as 10 or I don't know. I don't want to say certain numbers so somebody can hold me to that. I don't know.
But do you think they should begin earlier or later? You know what I'm saying?
Earlier is the better. Like there's for everything. The earlier is the better to get to. You saw that video where a Black father thought his Black daughter, I don't know, she maybe even 9 or 8, about if she get pulled over, how she has to put her hand up, whatever stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've started having, again, Jamesy has some intellectual challenges, and he's only 11, but, you know, we've talked with Jamesy, like, appropriately about racism.
We told, like, Jamesy loved wearing hoodie. Now he doesn't wear them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just certain things like that. Like, even though he didn't understand, he always wore a hoodie. When he goes to bed, when he gets up, he loves a hoodie. But unfortunately, he can't always
It's not safe for him to wear. Right. And that's something that, you know, we had to educate both of you on. And I touched on this, but raising our kids colorblind doesn't work.
No.
Because the world's not colorblind, no matter what people say. you know, people see you, they see Jamesy, they see a black man and a black child. Like,
Right.
they just do. That's what it is. And to raise kids colorblind, in my opinion, is ignorant. And I know that
Sure.
seems a little harsh, but
No, for sure.
yeah.
For sure, Mom.
What about navigating extended family? Yeah.
Wow.
So sometimes, I think a lot of times actually, when a family adopts a child internationally, and specifically a child of color, that could be the very first child or person of color in a family.
Right.
And obviously that brings about its own set of challenges. So, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on navigating extended family? Your face. Or do you want to just
No,
cut
we
this
want to talk
question?
about it. I just um obviously, like, from our own, your experience.
We don't have to go too personal here.
No, but like, extended family may not agree with what you're doing. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're doing what you're doing because you believed differently than your extended family.
Okay.
And, like, your extended family may not believe in adoption. You're adopting because you believe certain different things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, your extended family may believe that Black lives don't matter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Or racism doesn't exist. Mm-hmm.
But now, since you have a black child, where do you stand on that?
Yeah, what do you do?
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So, like, how are you gonna deal with that,
Mm-hmm.
and how are you gonna protect your child from that?
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Does
like,
that matter?
of course, like, it's a tough one. Like,
It is a tough one.
Because again, it's your family, but at the same time, this is where it comes down to.
It is, but we've chosen
This child
to make these children our family.
Right.
And they must, this is me speaking what I believe, they must be our priority.
Right. I think, yes, definitely. Like you said, you chose this child as your priority.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so whatever your extended family say, you have to stand up
Right.
for your child.
Even if it means
you
hurting,
absolutely cannot even resist. So, like, oh, maybe they demean it. No, you have to stand up.
Yeah.
Protect your child.
It means a lot to a child, right?
Definitely. Like, even if you're trying to build a bond, hey, this person has my back. You showing this child, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to fight for you.
Right.
Like, just so, like, it will even mean more because it's your family.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm choosing you over my family.
Right.
That's huge. Like, definitely huge.
Right.
So, like,
it's not easy. Like, we're not trying to make it seem light, you know?
Right. And I think it's just, like, again, a lot of extended family do believe differently than you.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, the question is, are you willing to stand up for them, say, like, this is my black child, his life matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
yeah. And I think we're just scratching the surface there. Like, honestly, there's a whole episode involved in that, but we've already talked a lot today, so
we did.
I really appreciate your thoughts, Javi. I think that they're valuable, and I'm thinking that people will find value in what you had to share with us, and I thank you for that.
I appreciate you, for being, again, continuing to learning and continuing to be open-minded, continuing to not be color blinded. And I'm not trying to praise you, but I think you're doing
it's really a process, and
you're taking the process.
I'm definitely in process, and I appreciate the grace that you
We all in process. If we
Give
don't give
me-
each other grace, then how can we move on? There has to be grace. But anyways,
Well, I thank you for that grace, Habi.
I love
Appreciate
you.
it. It's undeserving.
But you don't know I love you.
I love you too, Habi. I think that just about wraps up episode 6.
Yes, sir.
Once again, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to us.
Yeah,
and
come on, man.
If you listen
Show love
on Apple Podcasts, please consider giving us a review and 5 stars so you can move us up in the podcast world.
Yeah, move us up, man.
Let us know that you're listening.
Yeah, what do you need to do, Ma? Let them know. Follow us where? On Instagram. What's the tag? What's the name?
Underscore. Bring underscore.
Bring.
The underscore.
Wow.
Mike.
That's a lot of underscore.
And we still need some more questions and answers for our question and answer episode. That's coming up really soon. So, as Habi says, slide into the DM.
Yo, you did not do that. You did not do that.
So, yeah, send us a DM.
You stole mine. Right.
I stole your line.
You did not do that, but...
Anyway, good episode, Habi.
Good looks,
thank you
Mom.
for your wisdom.
Good looks. Oh, thank you for your wisdom.
I love you.
Hey, check this out. I'm going to leave you with some little bit of wisdom today.
Okay. I'm scared.
Okay? You ready for this?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Are you going to talk to me like Pop Smoke?
No.
Oh.
What's wrong with you? Can you stop it? Stop it. Like, stop.
Okay, go ahead.
Goodbye.
Wait, I thought you were going to leave me with some wisdom.
Oh, okay. It goes like this. When you pray for a rain, make sure you deal with the mud.
Thank you, Habi.
You're welcome.
I'll be sure to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
My metaphor for today.
We're out.
Peace.
Habi, we've recorded 3 episodes on our podcast now.
3.
And we've used...
Anchor.
Yeah, it's really an amazing tool.
It's a fun experience. It makes everything easier.
It does make it a lot easier. And your favorite part, I'm sure, is that
free.
It's free. You love free things. Everyone loves free things. A really cool part of Anchor is that the creation tools allow us to record and edit on our phone or on a computer. Yeah, so we can do it anywhere. And that makes it super easy. Yeah. Anchor also distributes our podcast for us, so we don't have to do it. We're on Spotify, Apple, and so many more platforms.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a really cool part of Anchor. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Yep. Go get Anchor.
Yes.